All right, everybody, I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm finally going to drop a review for Kathleen O'Neal Gear's The Ice Lion. If you've watched my TBR videos for the last 6 months, the books that I promise you that I will read that month, you know this book has been on that list for 6 months straight, and I've failed to get to it. I have failed, but I finally read it this month, January 2022, and I'm dropping the review right now. First of all, let's talk about Kathleen O'Neal Gear. I have met Kathleen O'Neal Gear, and she has signed, a lot of her, she signed all of her sci-fi books to me. I mean, I've got, I'll show you one of the signed ones anyway. She wrote these books, among others, and she's collaborated with a lot of books with her husband, Michael Gear, who also wrote a shit ton of sci-fi books, and I've met him too, and he has also signed most of my collection. If you are still not that familiar with these two, maybe you will recognize their People of the Wolf series. Let's go down here to this shelf right here. I've got all of their People of the Wolf. You probably remember these books. These things are bestsellers. This is where Kathleen O'Neal Gear and Michael Gear probably made all of their fame and fortune, is off of this People of the Wolf series, and I've got all of them here. There's dozens of them, and they're great. Okay, they've also got their science fiction books. There's a bunch of Michael Gear books, and Kathleen, they're all right here. That's their sci-fi stuff. They're two of my favorite authors of all time. And we will eventually be dropping a review of every single book they've ever written on this channel. We've already got about 10 of them right now, 10 reviews. The Ice Lion. I'm out of breath walking around my library. I'm out of breath. The cover. I love cover design, graphic design, cover illustration. Let's take a look at this one. This one's cool. It's by an author named Leo Nichols. It's got Seattle. It's all crumbled, like a saber-toothed lion here wandering through the crumbled bits of Seattle. This book takes place 1,000 years from now. I don't have any Seattle shirts. That's why I wore my Alaska shirts, the closest I could get. Anyway, let's talk about the book. Ice covers the oceans. Ice pretty much covers everything. We've entered a new ice age. 1,000 years from now, it's because global warming done everything up for everybody. And now humanity lives in a very primitive state, almost like a Clan of the Cave Bear-esque state. A very pre-America, Native American state. Amongst all of these weird ruins of cities like Seattle, with weird legends that surround these things, like about the legends of the Americans that would fight the giants, the frost giants, and the frost giants, froze everything in the ice. So everything is frozen in the ice, and one day that the ice will melt and technology will return, and everything that's frozen in the ice will come back alive. And there's legend after myth after legend, you can imagine. And the seas are covered in this luminous green seaweed, which is kind of like it's not nice seaweed either. It'll pull you down. Like you get in the ocean and the seaweed will this glow in the dark seaweed will just suck you under, swallow you. If you're on a boat, it will crawl up the gunwales of the boat and just get in your boat and things up. So, we've got a very, very bleak world we're living in, with characters, it's populated with, characters that are very reminiscent of their People of the Wolf series. ancient people that lived on Native America. I mean, they've got names like Quiller and Mink, Basher, Rabbit Eater, Lynx, Jawbone, Giant Beaver, Sunbird, Crow, etc., etc. Those are the names of the characters. So you get kind of where we're going. The characters are named after very natural things that they see in nature. And anyway, this is a dynamite book. It's a dynamite book. I would rather just read the jacket copy to give you an idea of what this is like. Because I think it does a great job, and probably better than me just babbling. 1,000 years in the future, a thick blanket of luminous green slime covers the ocean. I did mention that. Glaciers 3 miles high rise over the continents. I mentioned that. The old stories say that when the Yemen, godlike beings from the past, realized their efforts to halt global warming had gone terribly wrong, they made a desperate gamble to save life on Earth and recreated species that had survived the worst of Earth's ice ages. 16 summers old Lynx, who's one of our main characters, and his best friend Quiller, another one of the main characters, are members of the sea lion people, archaic humans known as I could never pronounce this when I was reading the book, but it's Denisovans. They live in a world growing colder, a world filled with monstrous predators. Yeah, there's bears and lions, and they are really nasty. When they flee to the new lands, they meet a strange old man who possibly seems to be the last of the Yemen. He tells Lynx the only way he can save the world is by sacrificing himself to the last true god, a quantum computer named Quanxi. And so this is freakish, because we're talking about primitive people and quantum computers. So there's like this very, it's kind of like a little bit like this Shannara series, the Elf Stones of Shannara, where we've got this landscape that's built over the top of Seattle, but it's like a medieval landscape in the Shannara series. But in this series, it's more of a dinosaur age, saber-toothed tiger, big, huge grizzly bear, Native American Eskimo type of environment with seaweed that will eat you. And there's a ton of characters. This is a short book, and I was just surprised at the amount of characters that I was running across over and over and over. Just with different names like Beaver and Big Beaver, Little Beaver, Massive Beaver, Giant Beaver, Lynx, Jawbone. I mean, it's endless. It's endless amount of characters parading through this, which is it kept me a little confused a lot. So I wasn't really connected to Lynx or Quiller as much as I wanted to. And part of the book is told in the first person, and then other parts of the book are told with an omniscient point of view. So that might throw people a little bit. All in all, this book is beautifully written. Kathleen O'Neal just writes beautiful prose, so I give her that. And the story carried me through, and I was interested to see when the quantum computer / technology stuff would start coming into the story, clashing with our primitive peoples. And I won't really go into that any more than what I have done. But this is a dope book. This is seriously cool. These guys, Kathleen O'Neal Gear and Michael Gear, have written so many books. They're just masters at their craft. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. I really, really liked it.